Hey everyone! Welcome to episode 8 of the Exploration series. In this series, we pick a familiar favorite and explore some different versions of it from around the world. I'm Amy, and in this episode, we're heading east to the Sonoran Desert and Arizona for some of my favorite tacos ever, Sonoran style. This style of taco hails from northern Sonora, Mexico, and southern Arizona in the US, where wheat is farmed more than anywhere else in Mexico, and cattle ranches dot the landscape. And since Sonoran food in general is known for using ingredients local to the Sonoran Desert, specific to the region, wheat, flour, tortillas, and grilled meats, especially beef, tend to reign supreme. So, we're gonna make Sonoran Carne Asada tacos, and since this is my neck of the woods, let's get cooking. First, we need to marinate our beef, which is common with Sonoran meats. To a medium or large bowl, add a third cup of extra virgin olive oil, a quarter cup of soy sauce, the secret ingredient, a quarter cup of freshly squeezed orange juice, or the juice of about 1 orange, the juice of 2 limes, or about 2 tablespoons. Mince up 4 cloves of garlic and dice up 1 or 2 serrano peppers. Leave the seeds in because this is supposed to have a little heat to it. Add 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, a quarter to half a cup of chopped fresh cilantro, and then salt and pepper to taste. I used a good pinch or so of salt and about a half a teaspoon of pepper. Mix this all up very well so the solid or dry ingredients spread throughout the marinade and don't stay around in clumps. Now we'll layer the meat into the bowl. Now the cut we're using is called skirt steak, and we're using about 1 to 2 pounds. This is a very thin cut of meat from the lower abdominal or the plate area of the cow, just behind the front legs. It has a very rich, beefy flavor, beautiful marbling, and a really long, coarse grain, as you can see. Although, since it is a thin cut, it's also really easy to overcook it, and if that happens, the meat will be really tough. So marinating this beef doesn't just make it taste really good, it also helps to tenderize it. Make sure to turn it over and over and get every surface of the beef coated in that marinade. When the skirt is completely covered in the marinade, cover it with plastic wrap, but don't leave it loose on the top of the bowl. You want to push the wrap down onto the surface of the meat. This will keep air from drying out the beef while it marinates. Then pop this into the fridge and marinate it at the very, very least for 4 hours, but overnight is way, way better. And for day 1, that is everything. Welcome to tomorrow. Today we're gonna finish everything for these tacos and have an amazing dinner. My beef is still in the fridge at the moment, but I'm getting started on making some flour tortillas. So to my bowl, I'm adding 2 cups of all-purpose flour and a half teaspoon of salt. I gave this a quick mix with a clean hand, and now we'll add the wet ingredients. We want 3/4 of a cup of very warm water, like tap water, as hot as it'll go, and 3 tablespoons of oil, and I'm using avocado oil here. Now just get in there with clean hands and work all this together until you have a nice soft dough. It will be tacky, almost to the point of sticky, but once it comes together, turn the dough out onto a floured surface and knead it for about a minute at most, like 10 to 12 kneads. This doesn't need a lot of kneading because we aren't actually activating the gluten in this, we just want the dough to finish coming together into a nice soft ball. When the dough can be shaped into a ball and is more tacky than sticky, cut it into 8 pieces and make each into its own little dough ball. Flour your surface again, as well as your rolling pin, and roll these out until they're nice and thin, like very thin. Sonoran flour tacos are almost see-through, they're so thin. Each ball should be a good thickness at about 7 inches in diameter when it's rolled out. Now while you roll out the first few dough balls, heat up a flat pan like a comal, a heavy pan like a cast iron, or a griddle to cook these. Place a rolled out tortilla on the hot pan and cook each side until it browns, which can vary from about 30 to 60 seconds per side. Traditional Sonoran tortillas are browned almost to the point of char on a griddle over mesquite charcoal or wood, but you can cook them to your preferred darkness. The tortillas should bubble and puff up as they cook. When the tortilla has some nice browning, move it from the pan into a tortilla warmer or cover them with a clean kitchen towel. We want to keep all that steam in so these tortillas stay nice and soft and pliable. And look at these beautiful flour tortillas. They are so soft, perfect for our Sonoran tacos. They're not dry at all, and they have such a lovely, mild flavor. Have you ever noticed that store-bought tortillas can have this weird, almost sour flavor? Yeah, these don't have that. These are fabulous. But let's put the towel back on because we want these to stay nice and soft, just like this. Alright, now that our tortillas are ready, let's make this carne asada. It's been marinating for about 10 hours at this point, which is perfect. And look at that skirt steak. That marinade smells so good. Garlic, cilantro, the citrus. It's just wonderful. So let's get this outside onto the grill. Traditionally, like the tortillas, Sonoran carne asada is grilled over mesquite charcoal or wood, but I only have a propane grill, so I'm going to use what I have. Heat the grill up to between 450 and 500 Fahrenheit, which is high, but that's what we want. We want a nice sear on this beef, but at the same time, we don't want the interior to get overdone. Grill the meat for about 4 to 6 minutes per side, so about 10 to 12 minutes total. Then pull it right off the grill, and we want to let this meat rest for about 10 minutes before we cut into it. And that gives us time to make our chunky avocado salsa. This salsa is so easy to make, and it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes at the most to put together. First, we're going to dice up 6 Roma tomatoes, but we also need to de-seed them. We only want the flesh of the tomato because the seed part has a ton of extra water that we don't want. So cut the tomatoes into quarters and just use your fingers to scrape out the seeds and the extra liquid. Then dice up the outer part and toss it all in a large bowl. Next, we want 1 cup of finely chopped red onion. If you don't have a red onion, you can just use whatever kind you have. The red onion just adds a nice color to the salsa. Next, we want to do the same thing for 2 jalapenos. Cut off the stem, de-seed them, and then dice up the flesh of the pepper. All of this goes into the big bowl with the tomatoes. Last of the chunky pieces is the avocado, because you can't have avocado salsa without avocado. We need 3 or 4 avocados, and we want them ripe, but still just a little bit firm. We don't want these to turn into a cream, we need them to keep their shape. I'm using 3, and these get diced up like everything else and added to the bowl. Give the diced ingredients a gentle stir to mix them up, and now we're going to whip up the dressing for this salsa. In a small bowl, add 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, the juice of 3 limes, which would be about 3 tablespoons, 2 cloves of finely minced garlic, about a teaspoon of salt, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, although the salt and pepper is largely to taste. Whisk this up so everything is well combined, and then pour that dressing over all those chopped ingredients. Stir the salsa gently until all the tomatoes and onions and everything are coated with that dressing. Sprinkle about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of chopped cilantro on top, and then give this a final gentle stir. And there we have a beautiful, flavorful, chunky avocado salsa for our tacos. All that chopping only took about 10 to 15 minutes, and our steak is ready to cut. Now, when cutting carne asada, always cut against the grain or the long fibers of the meat. If you cut along the grain, the meat will be tough and almost stringy, but cutting against the grain shortens those muscle fibers and makes your carne asada tender and easy to chew. I'm also shortening the long strips so they're manageable size for tacos. And with the beef all sliced up, we're ready to assemble. All right, we've got our tortillas, our beautiful chunky salsa, some fresh red onion, and the star of our show, the carne asada. Just like everything we make, you can add as little or as much as you want because we're all about having it our own way here. I'm going for a good amount of everything in each bite, so we have a nice thick layer of carne asada, and then I'm topping that with another thick layer of that lovely salsa. Some fresh red onion, and of course a sprinkle of fresh chopped cilantro, and our tacos are finished. See this right here? This is where it's at. This is just what tacos should be. They're Sonoran perfection. They taste like it too. The carne asada is tender, it's juicy, just the right amount of char from the grill. The tortillas are soft and mild, no cracking or breaking at all. And the salsa, so much flavor. Again, we have the hot and cold, the warmth of the meat and the cold salsa all wrapped up in a soft, warm tortilla. Serve this with some taco sauce, crema sauce, or just as it is, and chow down, because these will go fast. Thank you for watching Explorations Sonoran Style Tacos. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and leave me a comment below. Stay tuned next Wednesday as we head to beautiful Santa Fe, the nation's oldest capital city, where art, architecture, and cultures mix and mingle to make a tapestry unlike anywhere else in the world. And don't miss out on Sundays, because every week I have some new, cozy, comforting homemade food to share. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Wednesday for some more exploring. Bye!